It's so nice to meet you both.
Likewise.
Hi, Lizzie. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I just want to say congratulations with everything. I think that this film was so well done. I want to start off by just asking, and whoever would like to go first, how are you both feeling with everything and knowing that people are going to be seeing this film?
Go ahead, Captain. I'll let you go.
I mean, I feel wonderful. You know, you spend all of this time working on a movie, years crafting it. It's really all for this moment of it coming out in a theater, people being able to go into a dark room and experience something together. So I feel truly over the moon and really privileged that it's reaching an audience.
Absolutely. I'm curious to ask, what I really loved about this film is the way that it was shot. I feel like we were very much submerged into the atmosphere, and I feel like we don't see that so much on set. Like we'll get different forms of establishing a time period, but I feel like a lot of that's done in post, obviously. What did the set kind of comprise, and what did it feel like even from an actor's perspective, from a director's perspective? Talk to me about what it was to be able to create this space so everybody is able to really submerge and just perform to their best of their abilities.
Well, we did our best to make it feel real for everybody and every key department as well, to flex their creative capacity as much as possible and want to do it. You know what I mean? And so for actors, we had that flexibility to walk around the set knowing that this is our home, this is our space. I could talk to the director, I could break the fourth wall. I could move around and do whatever I want to and the camera's going to capture me. It's something that typically actors that we're not really used to. So I really enjoyed, it sound like a broken record, but I really enjoyed that freedom. And I think everybody did it, and all the key departments did as well. Robert, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, you know, I come from a documentary background, and so I'm kind of obsessed with the idea of things being real, right? This is my first fiction feature that I've ever made. And so it's a true story. We shot in Hartford, Connecticut, where the story really takes place. And so I wanted it to be real. And our whole cast and crew was behind that idea. And that was kind of the marching order, right? And so our production designer, Sonia Fotarsh, really took it upon herself to make every space in 360 degrees feel totally lived in, totally real, outfitted with period appropriate furnishings, even inside of drawers and cupboards. They were all propped out so that actors could interact with them. This also allowed the camera to have this kind of like freewheeling style where an actor could move to one side or the other. We could just follow them and see the entire room. That also meant that the lighting had to be invisible. So we lit with practicals and through the windows to give it this like overtly naturalistic feeling that is indicative of observational documentary work.
That's incredible. I was wondering about the lighting, so I'm glad that you were able to speak to that. I thought that that was so brilliant. I'm curious to ask about the character of Willie, especially like you mentioned, this is actually based upon real people in a real situation. What did the character of Willie look like with the two of you collaborating to really bring him to life? Was it kind of like I heard even with speaking with the other directors, good morning, actors, that a lot of the direction was kind of open because there was a lot of improv, and I've heard that like the cameras were rolling while improv was going on. But what did really creating and crafting the character of Willie look like?
It took some time because I think we're seeing an individual who's trying to hold on, literally trying to hold on and to save face. And this persona of being a champion and walking around this town, everybody looks at him one way, but behind Willie is a man who has no money, who's not champion anymore, who's fell from grace, who's back living with his mother. So there's two different Willies. There's one maybe the camera sees, and then there's one where the camera captures, right? So I got to be aware of when that camera's on and when that camera is off. And obviously, Robert captures that. But we worked really hard on the interiors and exteriors of Willie, and I think we did a good job of capturing that.
Very much so.
Yeah, I think Willie being a real character, there's a feeling when you're making something that's based on a true story of veering into doing an impression of someone. And right from the jump, James and I had conversations about that not being something that we were interested in. We were more interested in crafting something that is three-dimensional and nuanced and very fragile. And I think James was incredibly brave with his performance. He brought a lot of his real life experiences into what he put onto the screen. And all of our actors were incredibly dedicated to telling a truthful character. But James, most of all, took this character of Willie Pep and really put flesh on the bones and brought something to the screen that I think is honestly staggering.
You did a very great job. Honestly, both of you. I mean, Robert, you gave like an actor's playground, basically, is what it amounts to. And like in James, the way that you, like you mentioned, there was almost like two different Willies wrapped into one. And I think that you did a great job of being able to dive in and really show that.
Yeah, thank you. We were living, breathing Willie because we shot in Willie's hometown. We shot in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yes, you did. Talk to me about
local
shooting in the hometown for a moment before I let you guys go. What was that like to be living and breathing in Connecticut? I love Connecticut.
Well, it's scary. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
It's scary at first because you want to make sure that you are really doing this right. People are watching. This is their hometown hero. So every you're going, there's a story. Someone knows them. They want to see you. They want to see how you look. And so there's a lot of pressure as an actor to walk around Hartford and train in Hartford as Willie. There's a lot of eyeballs on you. So I made it my business to try and stay in that character as long as I could in that break without anybody knowing I was or I wasn't. So I stood really true and intimate with Willie at all times until I actually went home and saw my wife. And my wife was like, hey, you could pump the brakes now. You've wrapped. Not in a method sort of way, but I felt like I really became Willie, especially being in his town when people are cooking for you, they're inviting you in his house, the social clubs that he frequented, the places that he ran, he jogged, all the places that he trained, the gyms. We went and shot everywhere that Willie went. His ghost was there. I felt him. I felt his presence. I felt like there's times I walked under an archway and I'm like, Willie walked right through this archway. So it felt good. It felt right,
I love that. And then Robert, what can you speak to in terms of obviously getting everything situated to film in the hometown and provide this experience?
It was a dream come true to be able to shoot in Hartford, Connecticut. Not only did the city open its doors to us in a really meaningful way, but we were able to, like James is saying, go to all of these real places that Willie inhabited. The exterior of the house that is Willie's house in the movie is the real house that Willie and Linda lived in the 1960s. The banquet halls that we go to, the gyms that we go to, they're all real places. And so, yes, there was a feeling of Willie's presence there, if you will. But also the city is still inhabited by people that knew him. He is a hometown hero. And we were really privileged to be able to interact with all these real characters. Like Willie's son, Billy, that Keir Gilchrist plays in the movie. He was around. He came to set. He talked to Jimmy while he was training in the gym. He talked to Keir while he was preparing for his role. Willie's ex-wife, Barbara, got to come to set and talk to us. All these people from Willie's family in his life. And it really seemed like we were paying homage to someone. We were doing something in an honest way to try to portray like a fully formed three-dimensional story of a real person who was complex and deeply fascinating.
So awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for speaking with me. You guys, you knocked it out of the park. Really, I loved watching this. I love the way that you guys shot it. The acting was amazing. It's been a pleasure. And thank you so much. And congratulations with everything that's to come.
Thank you, Hannah. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.